And I think the younger learners are so used to using packeted interfaces, so whether it's texting or anything else, that they can take pieces from one place and also integrate it with pieces from another place. And I think as the generations of learners evolve, that they'll be much better able to multitask in terms of learning. And the other thing I would say, when I was a provost and I had to do faculty meetings, which was the absolute worst thing I ever had to do in my life, and they would complain about people using phones in the classrooms, and it's disruptive, and it's this and that. And I always say to them, well, you must not be interesting enough or engaging enough to your learners, or they wouldn't worry about their phones unless it was an emergency. Why don't you reflect a little bit on how you can create community and how you can engage the populations that you teach, and worry less about all of these symptoms of you not being able to connect with these people? And let's go from there. And then that was 3 hours of throwing food and doing everything else. But I think there's a point at which it is our responsibility as facilitators to create an environment that people want to engage in. And I think there's many times when people honestly know the information anyway, so they're there because they're polite or whatever, and they're going to do what they do. But I think that people are there to learn, and that you can engage and you can create community. I really think this is where instructional design at a professional level really starts to dig in and make sense and provide a product that I think is valuable. It's this whole notion of what do we do besides stand and give and transmit and receive in a basic communication model, which we all know is flawed at best. But if, as a designer, we can say, this is this community, this is how we create this community, this is what they're interested in, this is who these people are, this is how they learn, and let's find the best way to adapt what we do, adapt this content, adapt this LMS or whatever we're using to get from one place to the other. And let's find the best resonance for all of these things of what we do. And I think this, and Holly, tell me where I'm wrong, but I think this is where a lot of people that are used to classroom, they really have trouble getting over this hump.
Yeah. The comfort of the classroom and being in control of what you're doing, it really changes in the online space. You're not in control anymore. The students are going to take the content or the activity and they're going to make it their own. Whether you have explicit instructions or not, or a rubric, they're still going to make it their own. You ask them to do some sort of activity where they're creating something, even papers. Just grading papers, you see the differences in how they all write, their tone, what type of voice they're using, the adjectives. It's not. Education isn't meant to be put in a box, and the classroom is a box to me a lot of the time. And when you think about online education, you're not trying to replicate what happens face to face because they're two totally different modalities. It's like trying to say it's trying to say like, okay, I'm still going to use my wireless home phone.
Do you have one? I think I have one.
No, my grandparents do though.
With the antenna.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, 29 megahertz of wonderfulness. Yeah. Yeah, I know.
I mean, it's just certain things become obsolete, and education has always been notoriously, they hold on to tradition, which is fine. But if you're doing the students a disservice, why are you holding on to that? Try something new.
And this goes down a whole different road. I don't know if you want to go down this road, but I'm going to go down this road. And then you can tell me.
I'm right there. I'm going down the road. I
think that we need to stop worrying about formal learning and start incorporating informal learning. Okay, I think this whole notion of the classroom in the box in 2.5 hours or 50 minutes or whatever we do, and I think when people get to be adults, that needs to go away. And I think that learning is the whole environment. It's not just the classroom. It's just not the content. It's about this whole space. And this space can be formal. This space can be informal. This space can be all kinds of different things. And I know when you think about it from a learning perspective, do I want to be engaged in an environment of learning, in a community of learning, or do I want to sit in my chair and listen? And if I have a question, I'll find the right time to raise my hand because that's the mentality that people still have in some circles in higher ed. And I think the other death knell of academia is tenure. When you get to the point where all you have to do
Oh, you're really
is
going
show
for
up.
it.
No, I'm going for it because I think it's nonsense. And I've had tenure and I ignored it. And the whole notion here is when you get tenure, you should step it up, not sit back and relax. And it's not about you just standing in front of the group or sitting in front of a table in a classroom anymore. Okay, let's join this generation of learners. This generation of learners want to be engaged. They want to see value. They want to know what they're going to get out of it, and they don't want to be caged in. They want to be able to free to explore what they can do with this and how it works in their life and everything else. And I honestly think in the next 20 years, we're going to see an evolution where informal learning and formal learning are almost synonymous in terms of how we engage them as instructional designers.